All right, here we go. Welcome back to another edition of the Niles McKinley Red Dragons audio video show. I'm your host, Bo Marchand, with none other than Coach Jim Parry. Coach, disappointing win, and you know we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of the conference now. So it's going to, I think, be a tough stretch. I think it's the fairest way to assess this, and I think everybody out there knows that. But nonetheless, let's kind of do a recap of the Hever game. And what was it, 52-7 or 51-7?
Yeah, 51, I think.
Okay, so
we'll take the 1 point difference, I guess, at this point. Yeah. Obviously very disappointing, especially the second half. But you flip that, and you always want to look for some positives, right? And you, at 5 minutes left, again, of maybe the second quarter, somewhere around there, 5-6 minute mark, and you're 7-7. And quarterback got out the gate, and I thought we had an opportunity to shove him out of bounds, and we didn't. I mean, the teaching tape on that's, I think, pretty evident to our guys at this point. Like, you cannot assume anything's going to happen, and the kid keeps going and busts a 66-yard touchdown run. And again, you know, we can learn from that and move on. But when you then allow that to affect the next play and so forth, and now all of a sudden you go into halftime down 21-7, it completely changes your mindset. And to me, that's really the crux of where we are, is playing through adversity. And the last play shouldn't affect the next play. Obviously, human nature it does, but
these are young kids.
Really not to the point. There's, like I've told them, there's no shame in losing, but there's a shame in losing by the score we did, because our effort was really the difference in that, and execution. And we can get into that a little bit as to some things where we really, and I think youth, like you mentioned, is a part of it, but that's got to stop being the case. We can't use the youth excuse anymore. But we definitely had some major breakdowns and some very simple things that we could do to fix some of those mistakes.
Well, I mean, yesterday I was talking to TJ Watt, and he was as frustrated as you, Coach, talking about them giving up back-to-back 390-plus yard games.
Sure.
So it happens on every level. Again, I'm not giving Coach a pass on this, but I'm sure besides the Niles McKinley Red Dragons, you have a favorite team out there: Ohio State, Cleveland, Dallas, whatever team it is. There's frustrations always. And when you have players, and you talked about the caliber of the Hubbard quarterback, you said he's going to be in trouble. Again, you want to solve them. Again, I'm not trying to play nice here, but we have to have level heads here where, some guys, Lamar Jackson, for example, some guys are just hard to stop.
Well, and that gets to what I'm saying. Like, of course that kid is going to make plays. You can't make it easier for him to do that. And 2 times that very specifically, one at the end of the first half is when they go to an empty formation, we have an automatic check to a coverage, and we had a player that said he didn't get the check. Now, my rebuttal to that is you shouldn't need anyone to tell you, because empty is just the quarterback back there. We got to learn to recognize that. So, and then even in that, when we have a man free to help on that coverage, and instead of going in the middle of the field, we were on the hash, and his technique's not right, because instead of heading toward the middle, he's heading straight back. And if you pause the film, that kid's about 2 yards, maybe less than a yard from making the play, had he been on the right angle. So it's assignment and technique. All of a sudden you give up a touchdown right before half, which really kind of sinks your battleship. And then in the second half, we had pure alignment to some things to stop their RPO game, which is inside shade on their receivers, and take away the slants and the safety over the top. Well, we played head up, and the safety over the top for some reason was playing way outside, probably 8 yards from where he's supposed to be. And again, you're trying to stay in the game. It's like, well, if they call an RPA, we're in trouble. Do we blow the timeout? Like, those are the things that people don't understand. Certainly, we knew that they were capable to hit us there, but we don't line up right, and you're not in the right position. If they throw that play, instead of them getting it, even if they make a nice play, they might get 8, 10, 12 yards. They don't get 50, 60, 70 for a touchdown. So those are the frustrations. We have a thing on defense. We call it ASCA. Okay. It's assignment, or it's alignment, it's stance, it's key, and then it's your assignment. Okay. So you want to do those things. Well, if you can't get the first A, all the other things are in jeopardy, and that's just the reality where we are, and we got to get better at that.
And how hard is it as a coaching staff? Because I was talking with you guys after we did our show last week, and kids getting hurt, other things going on within the roster, and maybe not having enough depth where you know, you don't want there to be a consequence. Or maybe you do want there to be a consequence if somebody's not performing, but then again, you really don't have another man up. And so what's that like, trying to balance that? You know, this kid might not be working out, but, you know, you don't have many options, and, you know, it's just...
Yeah, I think some of that, you see it when we do tire out.
Okay.
You know, which it can explain a little bit of, you know, 7-7, 5 minutes left in half, lose 51-7. Now, I would just submit to you that should not be that extreme. But some of that, and again, it's, okay, go out in a JV game, put some stuff on film, let us believe you can do it, show us in practice, and I think we do have some young kids trying to do that. I think there's a few kids that it might be pretty close to breaking through, but it's, like you said, it's a big trust factor. We would love to get some guys off the field more, and we need to get guys off the field more, but you got to be, like you said, you got to be able to replace them with somebody who isn't going to make it worse to have that kid out there. And obviously there's a tipping point to that. A dead tired guy with zero energy can't be out there, but even that guy at 30 might be better than the kid at 100 coming in. So it's just a tightrope walk, really.
It is, and again, it's a hard place. And once again, you're here listening to the Niles McKinley Red Dragon. It used to be the podcast. It's the audio version now. We just thought it'd be a better opportunity to showcase the kids. And last week was our first show, and this week we are going to feature a Red Dragon. So we're excited to bring that young man to the pod or the show. But you know, let's go back 51-7. Like to discuss the play that you regret and the play that maybe you or one of somebody else on the coaching staff you want to give some kudos to.
Yeah, you know, we just didn't have a ton of success. Now, I will say that I thought, again, what I like to see is game plan wise, did they line up the way we thought, and did we have a way to attack that, which I really feel like we did a good job, and I think you saw a lot of that on first down, maybe even sometimes on second down. But where we lack is a bit of the consistency to keep the drive going. You know what I mean? So I know Coach had a nice call on a reverse to Keith Fambro. Keith spilled the ball, but we got the first down. The ball went out of bounds. I thought that was a perfectly timed. You know, those reverses are great when they work, but when you call them at the wrong time, they're inopportune and it doesn't work out. So that probably be a call I thought was a good one.
Okay.
As far as, you know, regretting some stuff, well, let me take it back. I'm going to go back one further. I thought the call was the right call, obviously, to punt. We were in there. We had decided to go for it on fourth down, but we lost a few yards. So instead of 4th and 3, 4th and 4, we had 4th and 7. I go, hey, let's punt it here. Well, then their kid dropped the punt, and we were able to get the ball down the red zone and score. So I think sometimes, why are you punting here? Like, that one actually worked in our favor. As far as some things, as far as calls that, like, I would regret or whatever, again, like, as a coach, when I'm telling you about this misalignment, that we feel responsible that we didn't get the kids ready to do it. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I just feel like we got to keep trying and working hard to get our guys in the right position to line up to make plays. And so that's a big emphasis this week.
I mean, not to Caleb Johnson, rookie for the Steelers yesterday, kickoff.
Yeah, it's hard to believe at that level.
And Tom was asked it yesterday during the thing, and, you know, he said, young player mistake. And they asked, do you guys practice this? And he goes, we practice this every single day. So again, not trying to shed lightly here and just say, hey, everything's happy.
But I think a lot of people, I think you're bringing light to something. A lot of people will say, well, why did you do that? And you can't, I guess, publicly say we didn't. He did. Like, you don't want to throw a young kid under the bus, but there's a lot of that in what you see. And when people say, you know, what's the difference between a sophomore and a junior? It's having that happen. You'd love for that to happen. If that happens in a freshman game or a JV game, nobody ever even talks about it. When it happens on Friday night, everybody talks about it. So we have some kids that, quite honestly, should be making these mistakes in a different environment. Hats off to them, because they don't seem to shy away from what we're trying to do. But your mistakes are public, and I would just submit that over time, he's not going to make. Most kids aren't going to make.
Right.
I can assure you that kid from the Steelers is never going to make that mistake again. Yeah. I would be pretty confident our kids aren't going to make a lot of the mistakes again, but it's part of the maturation.
It is part of a young player in the development. I believe you guys go to Lakeview to take on the Bulldogs this week. Quick preview of what to expect. What do they like to do, and what must you guys do? And
Well, the first thing will stand out, and I know maybe our fans are familiar with this. One of our coaches pointed out yesterday Friday during the coin toss. A lot of times it looks like the Monstars, the other team, how big they are, and we just don't have those physically imposing. We have some tough kids, but we're undersized. So Lakeview's really big up front.
Okay.
They have a nice seasoned offensive line and new coaching staff over there. So with that comes a little. You get familiar. Facing guys year to year.
I know
now
you always would talk about the Lakeview coach and how your familiarity and,
right.
and
so now it's a little bit unknown. Now your offensive coordinator is a good friend of mine, actually coached with us when I first started working here, Kevin Haney. He's done a nice job over there using their physicality to their favor. But I think this really is an opportunity where I know Lakeview's a little bit banged up, not that you wish ill will on your opponent for sure, but we've been banged up too. So hopefully that levels the playing field at least a little bit. But we're gonna have to play well. It's NE8, Bo. I've talked to you about that. Like, you better be ready to play in this conference and ready to go. The past doesn't mean the hell of beans at this point. We just got to focus on these guys.
Wonderful. And as promised, Coach is going to go get our featured player. Coach, do you want to do a little preview onto the featured player, or do you just want the young man to come out? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're going to have Mason Burns come here today. And a couple reasons. One, I think Mason's, first-year starter, played really consistently both sides of the ball, does a lot. We asked him to do a lot. He's even jumped in and as a kicker, as we had some injuries in the kicking game, and was able to get, I think he's 2 for 2 on the year, extra points. So I don't think he'd tell us no if we told him to play center. That's just the kind of kid he is. But also, last year he had two injuries, broke his collarbone, and then we got him back for about a grand total of about 3 minutes, and then the first tackling drill back broke his scapula, which I think was indirectly the collarbone because his arm had been dormant for so long. So. We knew he was even talented as a 9th grader. Seeing him have a little bit of success this year. He's a guy that's growing up on the fly, and really accepts coaching well, which I think is the best part. So I thought, hey, let's give a young guy a shot to come on and talk to you.
Beautiful. Well, Coach is going to go get Mason Burns, and we're going to talk about him a little bit. And again, we appreciate you guys always tuning in. And if you guys see the links and there's any questions you want addressed, politely, we'll try to take care of those on next week's show, and we can get there and get those going. And big shout out I wanted to mention, because he's our voice of the Red Dragons, Chad Reese. He got his book out. I know I got one, so support our local folks. And Chad, congratulations on the publishing. That's got to be an exciting thing. But Coach is going to get Mason Burns here, and we're going to talk a little football with our first featured Red Dragon, and I'm excited. This is all about bringing these kids on and showing their voices, allowing you to see what they're thinking. I think a lot of times these young men, they get put in a bad spot because, they might, think, oh, they're not trying hard enough, and you realize once you talk to these young men that they are those. Welcome. What's up, Mason? How you doing, brother?
Good.
We got a fabulous seat the coach warmed up for you here, and we got this high tech. This is like an ESPN studio here, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, man. Coach was talking about your versatility, and I think when I watch you, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I think desire, spark plug, just you will not take no for an answer type player. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've always had that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pop Warner Pee Wee, were you the dude?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, and kind of talk about it. So, he talked about you starting this season. We know your injuries.
Yeah.
And, but how you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
What's it like to feel good and, despite the 0-4 record, just personally, how's it feel just to be able to be healthy and make plays?
Yeah, it feels good to actually play and stuff compared to last year, like when I didn't play. So it's nice to play, but we just have to all pick it up to try and get the wins we need. So
yeah. And this the whole point of this is to let you guys share a voice, and you're a key contributor to this football team. What's the mindset? 0-4, you're going to Lakeview. You or your teammates, or maybe there's somebody else inside that weight room right now that's the voice. Who's keeping this on track in terms of players?
Players, well, Vinny, he does a really good job at keeping everyone positive. Vinny, Joey, Jaden, Rylan, everyone, we all try to keep it positive, try and keep pushing everybody in practice and help like lead like out on the field and stuff when people are like being lazy and all that stuff. So that's really it. We have to try and like push each other to bounce back.
Are you one of those voices, or you just kind of lead by example type?
I help a little bit, but kind of lead by example.
Yeah. And then you have a couple more years of doing this. Where you think you'll be one of them guys, like
hopefully
grabbing jerseys and be like, dude, step up the you know what up, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about Pop Warner and Pee Wee. Football, your favorite sport?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Any particular reason why? Or
no, I've always liked it since I was younger. I've always been into football.
Who's your favorite player? Who you'd like to emulate?
I like to emulate.
Now, who do you see at that next level, and you're like, man, if I could, obviously you're talking about professional.
Yeah.
But anybody?
No one really in specific.
No?
Just all around. Yeah.
Skill level, position wise, anybody? I guess you play all over the place. So I guess how can the Red Dragon coaching staff? What's the best way to use you? How's that sound?
Whatever they think, whatever. I'll do whatever they say. So.
That's what Coach said prior to you coming on. I mean, he said you're 2 for 2 on kicks. They even got you kicking.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I started like a week before the season, so it's not bad.
Are you like, oh, you know what?
Yeah, I'm getting more comfortable now.
Yeah, that's what it is. It takes some time and to get acclimated. Now we know your father. I mean, D1 athlete, YSU. Is he how big of a part is he in terms of just helping you out and saying, hey Mason, like maybe do this, or is that a big
it's a really big part. He's always been helping me like ever since I was younger, and like even now like we go over film together and stuff, and like he like helps correct me and all that stuff. So he's a really big part.
All right, now are you a cool kid with that, or are you like, dude, I already know this, Dad, shut your face?
A little bit of both. Sometimes he like points out the obvious a little bit too much, but he's just trying to help me.
Well, that's what dads do. Yeah. Well, and again, I know from being a dad and having a dad, I was the same way. I mean, your dad could have been Vince Lombardi, and he'd tell you, hey, we're doing we're pulling the guards here, and you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Shut up, Vince Lombardi. But Dad's been a big plus in this.
Yeah, big part. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's got to be a cool thing and lean on. And so within this group, I always like to get as much information about these kids. So in the huddle, who's the voice of reason, and then in the huddle, who's the guy that keeps you loose? Who's the fun guy out there?
The fun guy.
Or it could be the same guy.
Vinny at times he can be pretty funny, but he also gets pretty serious.
Okay.
Vinny, and then in the huddle, Joey helps like keep everyone up like before he calls the play and all that stuff. So he does a good job at that. Yeah. But,
All right. Well, we're about to wrap it up. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but we call 3 and out. There are just a few off the wall questions. You ready to take a shot with some of those?
Sure.
All right. Now this one's really not off the wall, but behind us is Niles McKinley High School. Who's your favorite teacher?
Favorite teacher. This year or?
Yeah, you do. It's your show. This is your show now. You do anything you want.
All right. Favorite teacher. I would say maybe Miss Merlo. I had her last year for English. I liked her. Yeah.
She comes up a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny how certain there's like a Rolodex of kids. She must be doing something.
Yeah. Cause she makes class like fun and stuff.
Awesome. What's your favorite thing to have for lunch at the school?
Favorite thing to have for lunch?
Yeah.
I would say, favorite thing to have for lunch. I pack my own lunch, but I like the protein bars that I have.
What protein bar you use?
It's called Fit Crunch.
Fit Crunch?
Yeah.
My wife eats those.
Yeah, that's probably
pretty good bar.
Yeah, I like it.
And then the final one, I'm trying to think. I don't want to razzle dazzle you too much, but we'll keep it fun. We'll keep it kind of low key here. How about this one? Let's see. I want to stay PG-13 here, so I don't want to get too funky with you. How about this one? This is a pretty simple one. If you could go back and beat any one of these opponents in the last 4 weeks, who would you like to go back and beat?
Probably Howland for sure. I would say Howland.
That one.
Yeah.
That one linger?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. that linger, you think, for everybody in there?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I like to tell,
Yeah.
you know, people just think you guys come, practice, and, you know, look at your iPhone and don't care about it, but there's a lot of passion in there.
Yeah.
Well, this was our first featured Red Dragon on our show. Mason, best of luck to you guys. The Lakeview. Hopefully, we get week one, our first win of the season.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Could you imagine taking the bus ride home?
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice.
Maybe even get the escort by the police, because that'd be a big win. You know, the first win of the season, no matter when it comes.
Yeah.
You know, your first win's as good as 10 of them sometimes. In terms of, you know, that's where you're at. Well, nonetheless, thanks. Appreciate the players stopping by, and appreciate you guys supporting the team. Go Dragons. Good job, brother.
Thank you.